Good morning. I'll offer an official welcome to Calvin from the engineering department. I'm David Wunder. I'm a professor in the department. I'll be presenting this next 45 minutes with Bob Hoeksema. We're very excited you're here. We're thrilled that you're considering Calvin. We see this day as an opportunity for you all to see our best foot, so to speak. We're going to put our best foot forward. But we also want you to see what the foot is all about, to continue with that metaphor. So we love teaching here. We're excited about what happens in engineering at Calvin. And with that, we'll start our presentation. A little bit of a roadmap, a refresher, and a preview. So we're at the program overview. At 11:30, we have engineering class visits. And then at 12:30, lunch. 1:30 panel discussion. This includes engineering students and alumni. And then 2:30 interaction with senior design teams combined with an engineering department tour. And then at 3:30 there are a number of options, including a campus tour, individual meetings with faculty, hosts, coaches, and then we also have an engineering department seminar at 3:30. We're celebrating 30 years of engineering at Calvin, and by 30 years of engineering at Calvin, that's a 4-year engineering program. Before that, we did have a real healthy program that was mostly linked with a couple large Midwest universities as a 3-2 program. But we've had a 4-year program for 30 years. And in celebration and acknowledgement of those 30 years, we had a video developed that I'd like to share.
Calvin did a great job of just giving me a good foundation in a more broad education.
There was always that foundation of, what are we doing to improve the world around us, and how does this design affect, society? And I really appreciate that, and all of those different perspectives that all of our different classes took.
I come at things a little bit differently than a lot of my peers, and I think it's good to have a different perspective.
Being Christ-centered throughout the whole journey really, I think, was critical in helping you keep the right perspective.
Calvin's mission statement, as being agents of renewal in God's world, it ties in very well with engineering, because a lot of the concepts are taught from a Christian worldview.
Calvin helps prepare you to lead.
One of the strong aspects of Calvin's engineering program is the opportunity that students have to go around the world.
Calvin's engineering program is really making a global impact by focusing on issues that are important throughout the world.
To have that experience, the globalization, worldview as well in whatever they're designing, and then what they're doing in the industry when they get out of school.
Being able to meet and engage with people from all different places is a real blessing.
I think that's critical for engineering students in particular in a global world where they're designing things not necessarily just for a local area, but a more global impact.
Definitely, I think back about the education I was given at Calvin. It really helped in my own work.
The Calvin engineering legacy is living on as people go out and have careers in a variety of areas.
What's heartening for me when I see the video, and I see Terry Beeshold, who's a chief engineer at Boeing, flying on a Boeing Dreamliner to Ethiopia, knowing that I'm trusting one of our grads. That's heartening. Gina Veltzen, a former student who's doing human factors engineering at the University of Nottingham. It's heartening. Nicole Mishmerheisen, chemical engineering major, graduate student at the University of Michigan. Olympic marathon trials runner this spring also. It's heartening. And Steve Walkus from the Concrete Institute of Michigan, who helps every spring with our concrete materials lab. That's heartening. So it's an amazing group of alumni, and an amazing group of students. So I've got a question. It's not rhetorical. What is engineering? So this is your chance to answer. One word, multiple words. What's engineering? Creation of things that will help people society. Yeah. Other thoughts? Yeah. Problem solving. Problem solving. Other thoughts on what engineering is? Applied science. Applied science. Yeah. So there. You want to add something?
Taking a new product and putting it into the real world.
Okay, taking a new product and putting it into the real world. Len, did you raise your hand? No? Okay. So a common notion among folks, and this is, I think, what high school students hear a lot, is that engineering is math and science. That if you're good at math and science, you should strongly consider engineering. And that's true, and you probably shouldn't consider engineering unless you're strong at math and science, but engineering is a lot more. And I'd like to share, with progressive disclosure, kind of how we view engineering at Calvin. So growing from math and science, we would include computer science, likely some biology, and then problem solving, acknowledging one of the answers earlier. Moving on from there, business and economics, project management, communications, creative design, so not just solving a problem, but applying some creativity to solving problems. And then finally, what I think is a key differentiator for us at Calvin is worldview, where you include the integration of worldview, and for us, it's a Christian worldview in everything we do at Calvin. We have a number of faculty, and the faculty represent various disciplines. We have civil and environmental represented, we have electrical and computer represented, chemical engineering represented, and mechanical. Some things to note about our faculty: we have combined 200 years of industrial experience before coming to teach at Calvin. So among these faces, we have a combined 200 years, about an average of 12 years experience among us. Now, that doesn't mean we've all come from industry. We have some faculty that have come from PhD programs, and some faculty that have come from 30 years of industry experience. But what it does, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, is it tends to infuse our program in the classroom with real-world applications and excitement that comes with engineering. We also have adjunct faculty. They're a great asset to our program. They're typically experts that fill niche places in the program, and they're a real benefit to our students and our program. And we're very thankful for folks that are teaching at the adjunct level too. So if you think about the faculty in engineering, we are all called to the same mission. And that mission is here stated. The engineering program equips students to glorify God by meeting the needs of the world with responsible and caring engineering. So this calling, it is the faculty's collective call. This is our marching order, and we take this very seriously. We measure our program against this, looking backwards, and we equip students and formulate new programs based on this mission statement moving forward. We have 7 distinctives: Christian, interdisciplinary, student-focused, practical, sustainable, global, and innovative. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak through 6 of those and then hand off to Bob Hoeksema to finish with the 7th. We are Christian. I mentioned this earlier. We take very seriously Christian faith. Calvin students have every opportunity outside of the classroom to own their faith and to grow their faith. and to live into God's call for their life. But we do the very same thing in the classroom. And faculty integrate their walk with Jesus into their teaching and do everything we can to weave God's call on individuals' lives in their call to engineering and serving the world. We are interdisciplinary, and by interdisciplinary, that means interdisciplinary within the engineering field. So as a civil environmental engineer, I work and have worked with electrical engineers, with chemical engineers, with mechanical engineers, a number of different kinds of engineers. And we think because of that as an example, it makes good sense, and there's a lot of wisdom in equipping our students to think broadly and fundamentally at the engineering level. Interdisciplinary also means that we rely on liberal arts. Calvin is a tremendous liberal arts based college, and we like to stand on the shoulder of the liberal arts because we think that's a key differentiator in our students tackling problems throughout their career. The way this looks in terms of a flow chart, this isn't, I'll just talk through it. I was going to apologize for this because it's not very exciting, but it is, thinking about 4 years of engineering, actually. So the first 2 years are common. Our students, regardless of concentration, start with a common first 2 years, and that really kind of sets the table for them moving forward into the final 2 years where they concentrate in one of the 4 areas that we offer a degree. Throughout those 4 years, we have liberal arts core courses and general education courses embedded in the program. And we think that, like I said, is a key differentiator for our students. Student focus, this is one of the distinctives. Student focus, creating a learning community that features small class sizes and a faculty committed to undergraduate teaching and mentoring. This is the living room of the Van Antwerps. They're not teaching a course there, but they are leading a Bible study among chemical engineering students. This is a great example of the mentoring component of our student-focused distinctive. We do have courses that average around 25 to 30 students in the first 2 years, and depending on the concentration, they can range from 10 to 15 to 30 in the final 2 years, the concentration-specific courses. We have a program that prioritizes the practical nature of engineering and practical experiences. I mentioned this notion of infusing the classroom with industrial experience among faculty. I should say that faculty are all that teach courses. Faculty are here at Calvin because we love to teach, and that's what we primarily do as professors. One thing that's true of engineering is that it's a lot more than math and science, like I said, and it's a lot more than finding the correct answer to a problem and putting a box around it at the bottom of the page. Engineering problems are often vague and big and require really thoughtful constraints. And so what we do through our program is we tackle engineering in that way. We think about engineering as a really exciting, engaging calling from God to craftily solve problems that serve society. Some of the ways that our program really emphasizes practical with programs and opportunities is we have a mentor program in the first year. Our first year students in the fall semester are linked up with practicing engineers in the West Michigan area. In the concentration area that they're likely most interested in, sometimes students aren't sure. So students do their best, we do our best to find an opportunity for a mentoring visit and experience. We have seminars, roughly 10 seminars per semester, sometimes a little bit more, from practitioners, from researchers, from folks that are sharing a number of different aspects of engineering careers and practice. We have an internship program that nearly 90% of our students participate in at least once. In other words, at least 90% of our students have one internship experience. Most of our students have 2 and some have 3. Whether Calvin is a viable option for you or not, you should strongly prioritize internship experience as an engineering student. It's a really practical, valuable experience. We think it's so important that we have a faculty member, an engineering faculty member, dedicated to our internship program. And Bob Hoeksema will talk a little bit about an extension of that program in terms of international opportunities. We have research opportunities among faculty here, faculty working with water and energy, sustainability, faculty working with automobile industry. So students have great opportunity to do research here on campus as well. We encourage on-campus interviews, and we host a job fair once a year, and then we also co-sponsor a job fair downtown Grand Rapids, and a number of our students take advantage of regional job fairs as well that we're plugged into. We emphasize sustainability across the program. This is true of engineering generally, the practice of engineering, thinking about the world with a lens towards sustainability is critical. Energy resources, natural resources, human resources, financial resources. So this really marks our program from start to finish. And we highlight it, or we offer a designation, a sustainability designation for students with that kind of interest, regardless of concentration. And what this looks like is a first course, a 1-hour course in the first 2 years called Sustainability Challenges, and then a 1-hour sustainability course in the final 2 years focused on analysis, complemented with a sustainability elective. So that could be an engineering course or a science-related course. And then finally an experience, an internship, senior design project, or research. So notice that we're going out of order. If you've been following along the outline at the bottom of the slide, we've jumped ahead to innovative, and we've leapfrogged global. That's because the rest of the presentation primarily is going to focus on the global aspects of our program. But we do prioritize the innovative nature and necessity of engineering. We do engineering because it serves society, but we also do engineering because it's really fun and it's exciting and it requires innovation, thinking outside of the box often and thinking about how to best serve people and society. With that, I'm glad to reintroduce Bob Hoeksema, who's going to carry the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, David. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the global characteristic of our program. When I think about the global opportunities, the global experiences that our students can have, I think about 4 different aspects. One, stated up there, is that it prepares our graduates for participation in the international marketplace. There are a lot of companies that have a global perspective and a global outreach, and so it prepares students for those. On the other side of things, it also allows our students to see and address challenges faced by people in the developing world, and that's what the picture is focused on. A few other things I think that are important. I see that some of the global experiences also allow our students, or opens the eyes of our students to the way engineering and technology is done in other places. I frequently take students to the Netherlands, and one of the unique experiences there was when a person involved in water treatment said that he thought that the United States was a developing country as far as water quality is concerned. And with the experiences in Flint, he might be very right. So it exposes our students to how things can be done in other places. And furthermore, it opens up great opportunities for our students, opportunities that might not otherwise exist. We have many examples of students applying for jobs where their resumes rise to the top of the stack because of the international experiences they have. So there are a number of different programs that I want to highlight here. The first one is our summer program in Germany. So the way this one works, first of all, it's primarily for students after either the first or the second year in the program, which means if you are a current high school senior, this could be something you might be doing a year from now or a year and a half from now. During the semester prior to departure, students take a German 101 at Calvin, an introductory German course. Then in the summer, they start with a week of instruction in one of the sophomore level classes here at Calvin, and then they fly off to Berlin and spend 5 weeks in Berlin, where they continue the instruction in that course and also take another course in German language and culture taught by local instructors in Berlin. The classes are 4 days per week, which leaves a lot of time for travel around Germany. This program costs around $6,000, but the students get credit for 2 additional courses as a result of it. The next area is our off-campus international interim courses. So if you're not familiar with the Calvin calendar, we have a fall semester and a spring semester, but we have a January term in between. And in that January term, students take 1 course, and so it's an intensive study for about 3.5 weeks. Well, if students are only taking 1 course, we don't have to stay on campus. We can go off campus. And so the college offers quite a few off-campus interim courses. And within the engineering department, we have a number of them that are led on a regular basis. The cost for these programs is usually on the order of $3,000 to $4,500 approximately. There's financial aid available and other ways to make the costs a little bit easier to deal with. But it's hard to find a better opportunity, a better way to spend 3.5 weeks in some unique location than to do an interim course. So the next few slides will highlight the courses that are offered by faculty in engineering on a regular basis. Now, in most of these courses, I think all of them, the engineering professor is teaching it along with a professor from another department. So the first one is the China Business and Engineering course. The focus of this course is business and engineering, manufacturing, product development, things of that nature in China. They travel to a number of different locations. I think it changes on a regular basis. My list here says Beijing, Shanghai, and a few other places. This course is going to be going again this coming January, so this is offered on odd years. The next one is Engaging Development in Cambodia. This one is offered in even years. Students visit various NGOs, many of them Christian organizations. They get involved in a number of different projects. One year they helped build a drip irrigation system for a NGO farm. The next one is In Search of Water in Ethiopia. This is David Wunder's course. So in this course, he brings students to Ethiopia, and they are there to better understand the importance of safe water and to learn about methods to improve availability and quality of water. Then there is the business and engineering in the context of European culture. This is a course that travels around to 7 different countries in Europe, and they visit engineering plants, businesses, historical places, and significant religious sites, and they learn how language, history, and religion play a role in the current cultures and practices in Europe. My favorite, because I lead this one every other year, is Dutch landscapes. In this course, we provide a study of how the Dutch have shaped the land and how the land has shaped Dutch culture. So we look at things like flood protection, land reclamation, urban development. We gain an understanding of sustainable engineering systems, and students have the opportunity for homestays and open travel. Another part of our program are international internship opportunities. So each year, 5 or 6 of some of our best students get an opportunity to do an international internship. We have an internship coordinator who helps with this. And over the years, you can see the list of countries. Puerto Rico is down there. We know that's in the United States, but and some of the companies that they've gone to work for. There are other international opportunities that I want to mention. First of all, we have a senior design course, and frequently the senior design teams will be looking at a project related to development of some sort. So this year we have one team working on a project in Honduras and another team working on a project in Ecuador. And some of these senior design teams then travel to these countries to learn more about the site and to gather data and to meet the people involved. We also have a group called Engineering Unlimited. This is a student organization that seeks to provide engineering assistance to people in need, both locally and globally. The last 2 years, they have organized a trip to Peru, and both David and I were the faculty members along with those trips. And you see a picture here of a spring protection project. If you look in the upper corner, you can see David Wunder. I'm taking the picture, so you can't see me. And we have a number of our students in there helping with a project. Occasionally, we'll get some students who do international semester programs. These are rare because most of the time they take an additional year at Calvin. But we have a student, I believe, who's graduating with a French major who took 5 years and did a semester in France. So those are possibilities as well. To provide some sort of transcript recognition of the international experiences, we have an international designation. So if a student does an international engineering interim, the summer program in Germany, if the student completes 2 from this list, international engineering interim, summer program in Germany, international internships, they get transcript recognition of that work. And that becomes very important when you're looking for a job and grad schools and so forth. So in summary, engineering at Calvin is problem solving to develop products and technologies that serve society. That's what we're trying to do, serve society. It's kingdom work. God has called us to this work as part of redeeming his world. We're called to do these things. It's hard work. Engineering is not easy. Just ask some of my Engineering 106 students who are working on a design project right now. It's not easy. It's a challenging academic program, but it's satisfying and rewarding work, and you can make a difference with it. There are a number of marks of program excellence that I want to mention. First of all, we have very good placement into industry. There's a list of companies there, but that's a very short list. Somewhere between 15 and 20% of our students look to go to graduate school, and our students are accepted into the best graduate schools. In fact, every year we have a faculty member from Carnegie Mellon University who comes to Calvin and tries to recruit our students. Of course, it helps he's a Calvin grad, but they love our students at Carnegie Mellon. We have outstanding pass rate on the Fundamentals of Engineering exam, which is the first step in professional registration. Our students do well in student competitions, and they do well with work experiences in industry and in research. And we have great international opportunities. So now we have a blank screen up there, and what that means is it's time for questions. So if any of you have any questions, we have a roaming mic, and David and I will try to provide answers as we can.
Anybody have the first question? We have about 10 minutes, so we've got plenty of time for questions. I'll hand you a mic and then Michelle.
How well recognized is the Calvin engineering program as far as hireability?
So I heard the question, how well organized is the Calvin program in terms of hireability? So how well are students employed? Well, our students have tremendous opportunities after they graduate. We have a great network in West Michigan for our grads, and we have an increasing number of grads from across the nation, across the world, that are finding work all over the U.S. Especially with the industrial economy so strong right now, for the past 4 or 5 years, it's been a great time to graduate from Calvin as an engineer. Is that okay? Other questions?
Hey, you mentioned Germany a lot in the presentation. Do you have any specific deal with Swoboda Manufacturing? Because I know they have a plant here in Michigan, and also their other plants in Germany.
With which company?
Swoboda.
Swoboda. I wish okay, so I've got the answer from the back of the room. So the question was, Piers, we have a firm connection to Germany. And do we have a connection with Swoboda? Say it again, Swoboda? Swoboda, sorry. I don't have a connection with Swoboda, obviously. But we don't as a department. We do, so many of those relationships in Germany stem from Ned Nielsen's almost 30 years of experience doing mechanical engineering with industries and entities in Europe. So he was located here in the States. So we've just developed those internships from there. So there's a question in the back.
Thank you. I've asked this question once to another faculty member and I got an answer. I just want to get a different perspective. What is the difference between a Bachelor of Science in Engineering with a concentration in electrical, chemical, mechanical versus a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering or a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering?
It has to do a lot with the way our program is accredited. And so the particular path we chose to take was to have a BSE degree, a general degree with concentrations in these various areas. And one of the reasons why that's kind of reflects what we do is because we do have a common first 2 years. We have our students back together in senior design, everybody. So in a way it is general, but we have enough of a particular focus, let's say in civil or mechanical or electrical, that in effect our students are taking jobs in those industries, going to grad school in those industries. So from the perspective of their opportunities, there's really no difference. And it's really just a way in which we designed the program and decided to have it accredited.
I was just wondering, is the program set up such that you have to apply after your freshman year to get into the engineering program? And is there a certain number of students that you take into the program in each area? And also, I kind of wondered, of the students who begin in the engineering program, how many complete the program? Okay,
so those are easy questions. The first one is about applying to the program. So initially, students are admitted to Calvin College. And then they go through the first 2 years of the program, and at the end of the second year, they apply for admission into the concentrations. Now that application is, whether you get in or not, is simply based on academic performance, not on a quota. So anyone who has good grades, a good GPA, has met all the requirements, is admitted into the program. So that was the first question. The second one was, Oh, retention rates, right. Or was that the third one? Yeah, anyway. Currently, we've been seeing about 150 first-year students. How many are in senior design this year? 85. So 150 to 85 is what happens. Now, most of those students stay at Calvin College. They find other majors that are more acceptable or to their interests.
She just asked the GPA of what students are expected to have at the end of 2 years.
I'm trying to remember that. Michelle, you would know the numbers better.
Why don't you take this, Michelle?
Students have to have a minimum of 2.3 to be admitted into the program. And another thing that just stuck out to me is the students who, if it is much easier at Calvin to start in engineering and take a semester and figure out if that's what you like, and then, no, this isn't a fit for me, and switch out of it. So that's a part of the reason for that big drop of 150 to 85. We, you know, as admissions counselors and stuff, it's just the core is a little different, and if you don't start in engineering, you can get behind real quick, and then all of a sudden you're here 5 years instead of 4. So that's, I didn't want that big drop of 150 to 85 scare you off, because many students do it and they love it.
Can I follow up? One of the questions was about retention. What % are still in the program at the end of 4 years? But related to that is, of those that are graduating, so if we look at our senior design class of 85, probably 75 or more of them are going to be done in 4 years, which is really fairly significant for looking at the total cost of education. So imagine if you were finishing in 4 years, you've paid 4 years of tuition. The 5th year, you're now working, earning an income. Compare that to somebody who's actually taking 5 years or maybe 6 years. In some schools, that's pretty common. 6 years of tuition or 5 years tuition, you're not making income on that 5th year. You're paying tuition. So as a financial issue, that can be fairly important for families. And I think it's something we really strive hard to make sure that it's possible for our students to finish in 4 years. That's a really important thing to us because we know it's a very costly education. Our students are, in general, are able to do that.
Can we have maybe one more question up front?
You had talked about the 3 and 2 with other schools. Do you still do the 3 and 2?
So back in the day, students would do 3 years and then transfer out and complete their program at another institution, and then by doing so, they could actually earn a Calvin degree. But that was eliminated when we initiated the 4-year program. So the option of getting, so I went through Calvin College back when it was a 3-year transfer program. I went to Calvin for 3 years, University of Michigan. When I completed my degree at Michigan, I also got a Bachelor of Science in Letters and Engineering from Calvin College. So that option no longer exists because we're only supporting the 4-year program.